Hey everyone, Alex here, and today I'm going to tell you how to visit one of Okinawa's remote islands, Miyakojima. In this video, I'm going to go over how we got there, where we stayed, and what we did. And at the end of the video, as always, I will share a list of all the Google pins that I had saved on my maps for you to screen grab. Let's get started on how we got there. We flew from Naha, Okinawa on JAL, and the flight took a little bit less than an hour. Miyako Airport also services direct flights to and from Tokyo, Nagoya, and Osaka. There's actually another airport called Shimojishima that also offers flights to mainland as well as one to Seoul, South Korea. While there are a good amount of taxis and the DD app works on the island, we decided to book a rental car in advance. There are lots of companies to choose from, but we chose to go with one called MIY Active. If you're looking for a rental car, I would also go ahead and ask your hotel if they offer any as well. Ours did, but I'd already booked the other one, but we would have saved a little bit of money had we booked directly with our hotel. Speaking of that, let's talk about where we stayed. So after watching The Last Tourist on Hulu, I've been on like a real kick about staying at locally owned places whenever we go on vacation. There are so many hotels and resorts and guest houses on Okinawa that it was a little bit overwhelming to try to do any research and see like which ones were locally owned or not. And eventually I found Guest House KOA, Guest House Koa, I think it's called. When the lady at the information desk at the airport asked where I was staying and I told her Guest House Koa, she was like, "Oh, I know him." So I knew that it was going to be good. It is actually classified as a hostel, but we were able to book one of their private huts, which includes a small little room with a bed and a teeny little desk, as well as a private bathroom and a private shower. Through the small garden, there was like a little outdoor space we could use, and then inside they had a shared kitchen and living room, and that is where the fridge was, where you had to keep all your stuff with like your name written on it. We really like staying here because of its proximity to a beach, and also it was only like a 5 or 6 minute drive to the downtown, I'll call it. The downside of this location was that there was quite a far drive to some of the major tourist spots like Yohana Beach or Cape Higashi Henezaki. And since it's only a few kilometers away from the main downtown part, there was some light pollution that you could see, making it so the stars weren't like as bright as they could have been. Okay, well, let's dive into what we did for 4 days and what we ate. On day 1, we arrived at 11 a.m., so we went to get our rental car and then drove straight to lunch. I tried to go to this like famous Miyako soba spot that I found online, but it had a line like around the building, so we immediately skipped that and searched for another soba place, and we came upon this cafeteria slash grocery store type of place, and they had a nice little bowl of Miyako soba for us. This soba is really similar to Okinawan soba, but the noodle is a little bit thinner and flatter. After enjoying our nice little warming soup bowl, we drove south to a distillery called Taragawa. This is where they make awamori on the island. And awamori is like an Okinawan sake passed down from the Ryukyu dynasty, and they learned the method through trade with Thailand. Awamori uses black koji mold in its fermentation process, which allows it to be produced safely in the hot and humid climate of Okinawa. This specific distillery is really cool because it was founded in 1948 and it was built on top of an underground river. This river's water has been filtered through coral and limestone, and it is rich in minerals, and that's what they use to make the awamori. I saw online that for 500 yen, visitors can learn about the process, get a tour of their underground storage caves, and enjoy a nice awamori tasting. Tours happen every day at 11 a.m., 1:30 p.m., and 3 p.m. And I wish I would have really looked that up ahead of time because we missed the 1:30 tour and we didn't want to sit around and wait for the 3 p.m. tour. So because of that, we made a little pivot and we decided to drive south to the Shigira Hot Springs. We did just go in there at first for the cafe, so we sat down, had some drinks by the pool and some little snacks, but then kind of seeing what it looked like in there, we decided that we all did want to pay the 2,000 yen per person to get our little wristbands so we were able to swim in the pool and use the onsen facilities. In this jungle pool area, which is like super cool and lush, you have to wear a bathing suit, and it's co-ed mixed together, and they are pretty strict about tattoos showing. So if you have tattoos, you are allowed to go in, but if they're like on your chest or your legs, you need to wear a reef guard or like swimming pants to cover them. And then when they noticed my friend and I had like our little like girly ankle tattoos, we had to buy this 500 yen like piece of band-aid paper or whatever that they cut up, and we could stick on there and cover them. While the jungle pool is super nice and has like a really nice aesthetic, it is hot spring water, so while it was like 90 degrees, it wasn't the most refreshing thing to do, but it was something to do. So we're glad that we did it, but you couldn't spend that long in there. I also bopped around the female onsen for a little bit, and that was actually really nice. They had 3 different pools. One of them kind of like overlooks the ocean, and the other one is down this little grove and next to this little waterfall, and it was so peaceful and nice. Shigira does offer private onsen rooms for I think like groups of people even, but we thought that was kind of expensive for the hour that they were charging for, so we just skipped it and did the public ones. After all of this, we booked it up to the hotel to check in because we had dinner reservations at 6. After visiting Ishigaki last year and having like an amazing life-altering experience eating Ishigaki beef, I knew we had to find something similar in Miyakojima. We went to Yakiniku Kagimi to try the Miyako beef. This wagyu comes from cattle raised on the island that benefit from the mineral-rich groundwater. Our strategy was to start with the selection of 5 different cuts for 4,600 yen, and each one had the signature like, melt-in-your-mouth texture of wagyu, and they were all really good. From there, we were able to choose our favorite ones, and we chose to go with the sirloin and the chuck flap until we literally couldn't eat anymore. If you can't get a reservation here, I did have 2 other places marked on my map for Miyako beef. One of them is Nakao, and the other one is teppanyaki steak shu Miyakojima. After Ishigaki, we were hoping to go to a place where they cook it for you because Lord knows, like I can mess up a yakiniku situation, put me in front of a fire, you know, but it was okay. But yeah, it seems like most of the places in Miyako were more of a yakiniku style, and I had trouble finding places where the meat was already cooked for you. After dinner, we stopped by Family Mart for dessert, of course, and then we called a Didi because we had to wake up early in the morning to go golfing. Day 2 is our first full day on the island. We woke up early and went to go grab some Mickey D's because you know that a McGriddle before golf is really good. It just hits different. So we had to grab some of those. And then we made our way down to Emerald Coast Golf Links. Our friend was able to make a reservation online ahead of time and had our tea time booked for 9. Their facility has a small pro shop, a restaurant, and club rentals. Our friends brought their own clubs, and Will rented his clubs for about $50. During the summertime, it's 19,000 yen on weekdays and 22,000 yen on weekends to play 18 holes. I'm personally not good enough to pay that much money to play golf, so I was passenger princess and DJ. The 4-person golf carts were super nice. They had a little iPad that tells you about each hole and how far you are from the pin. And then as far as refreshments go, you get a cooler filled with ice water on the cart, and then there are 2 places to stop on the course to get some drinks and snacks and take some pictures. The landscaping here is beautiful, and the views on some of the holes are super nice. Hole 16 is especially beautiful with its backdrop of the Kurima Bridge. After golf, we went back to the hotel so we could change and get some beach time in before dinner. We walked to the nearby Sunayama Beach. While the famous archway was blocked off, it was still a beautiful spot to swim. It's not a really nice place to snorkel, but it's a really nice place to swim. There is a parking lot with bathrooms right nearby, and on a Sunday afternoon, it was actually pretty crowded here. We still hung out for a while though, we made it work, and eventually went back to the hotel to get ready for dinner because I had reservations made for 7 o'clock. I took us to Umarizuma, which I saw online as being a good izakaya with live music. We paid a cover for the live music, and I will say it was not exactly what I expected. So what happened was this really nice guy with a sanshin came up to us and taught us a couple lyrics so we could like sing along in like a call and response type of way to him singing. And that was the only live music we got. He kind of just walked around from table to table, but you know what? It was fine. He was super nice and it made the dinner memorable. The food was pretty good, and the favorite dish we got by far was the garlic fried rice. That was really good. After dinner, we walked around a little bit because we didn't realize that this was the part of the island where all of like the bars and restaurants were. So we had an early morning the next morning, but we spent that night kind of just like wandering around, getting a little dessert, doing a little shopping, and then scoping out places to have dinner the next night. We had to get to bed kind of early though because we had another early morning on Monday. So on our 3rd day there, we woke up early to go scuba diving. Our hotel recommended Penguin Scuba, and so that's who we went with. I was initially interested in scuba diving the Great Barrier Reef of Japan that's found a little near Miyakojima, but that was a boat dive, and so that includes like a whole other cost on top of that, and they didn't have a boat like that, so we decided to just keep it simple and do a beach dive. He did have a motor-powered kayak, which made it kind of like a boat dive, but definitely a little more interesting. So I actually have pretty bad scuba anxiety at the moment, so I stayed back and snorkeled with my little life jacket on. I felt super safe, and the place he told me to go was really protected and very, very beautiful. I know that everyone else who dove got to see some sea turtles and some cool wildlife, and he said that there could have been sharks, but they didn't see any. After diving, we grabbed a smoothie nearby at a place called Blue Turtle. Their patio overlooks some gorgeous blue water. We were still hungry after that, so we went on Google Maps and found a spot called K's Pit Diner, and it was fabulous. We all got the Miyako Beef Burger or the Japanese Black Burger, and they were all super good. The interior of this place is so like retro and cool, and he had a TV right in front of us playing old music videos, and just the vibe was really good. I think that anyone who goes there would really like it. We would highly recommend it. And so, backtrack a little bit, before we left Scuba, we asked him where can we go to snorkel with sea turtles, because we were still riding that high of seeing a sea turtle, and he told us 2 beaches that we could go to. He said especially around high tide to go to Waiwai Beach or Aragusuku Beach. We decided to drive down to Aragusuku Beach. He warned us it's pretty touristy and everyone knows about it, and that was true. So they have kind of a really small free parking lot right there next to the bathrooms, but any overflow parking was shuffled into this parking lot that costs 2,000 yen per car. On the beach, there are a couple snack stands, there's a drink place, a rental shack, and tables and umbrellas that you can rent for 2,000 yen. We just popped our stuff on the beach and jumped in to go try to find some sea turtles. After searching for a little while, Will and I actually found one, but it was swimming, like it was booking it. It wasn't hanging out, so eventually we lost it. Our friends went later and we kind of pointed them in the direction where our turtle was going, and they ended up going that way, and they found 3 of them, and they were like eating and being chill. So they had a really good experience. And I can show you on the beach like kind of where I told them to swim, so you can try to go find them if you go there. Just don't touch them, okay? Please don't touch them. From there, we walked back to the hotel to get ready for dinner. Oh, thank goodness we didn't have any reservations for this night because we just needed to chill. So we took our time getting ready, and then we grabbed a taxi to go back into like the downtown area that we were at before. We bopped into a couple different izakayas, restaurants, and bars that we saw, really just going off vibes, and everything was super, super good. There's a lot of things to choose from down there. I was kind of surprised, I don't know why, but it was like a really nice little spot for nightlife, and all the food was really good. Our 4th day, we woke up early because checkout was at 10 a.m. and then we went to breakfast at a place called Cafe de M. At breakfast that day, we decided that we wanted to drive around to see all the bridges on Miyakojima before our 5 p.m. flight. So Miyako is actually connected to 3 other islands. To the north, there is Ikema Island, to the west, Irabu Island, and then to the southwest, there is Kurima Island. We started by going north to Ikema Island. The bridge there is 1.5 kilometers long, and it gives beautiful views of the ocean on both sides. There are no stop-offs along the bridge, which is a little bit annoying, but I get it. So if you did want to get a picture like more in the middle of the bridge, you would have to walk from either end, and that would take kind of a long time. Once you get to the end of Ikema Bridge, you will see an observation building deck off to the right. This is on top of a restaurant called Kaimiru on Google Maps. We thought we'd have to pay to go up there, but nope, anyone could walk up there to the roof. And it's a beautiful view of the ocean and the bridge. This parking lot was super full with a line of cars waiting for people to leave. If that's the case when you're here, just drive like 100 feet up the road and there's a dirt parking lot off to the right, and you can easily find parking there and then walk to the observation deck. You're welcome. We decided to drive around the island in a little loop just to see what was going on. Most of it was kind of just driving through the forest with not really good views of the ocean. I don't know why I was expecting like US 1 in California, but no, it's not like that. We did stumble upon this dilapidated looking park called Monkey Park. It has a cute little swing overlooking the water where you can get some cute Instagram-y pics. There's also a pretty beach right there called Ikuzu Beach that was totally empty. A little bit down the road is another beach that I had marked but we didn't get to go to called Funakuzu Beach. It took like 10 to 15 minutes maybe to drive a circle around the whole thing, and then from there we drove south. We had already been scuba diving on Irabu Island, so we actually skipped it on this day, but I do have a couple things marked there that I can share with you. I had marked Toriike Pond, the Miyakojima Observatory, Nakanoshima as a good place to snorkel, and Shiratori Misaki Park, which is where we actually went scuba diving, and our guide told us it is also a beautiful place to look at the stars. Anyways though, the last bridge that we needed to visit was Kurima Bridge. There's a teeny little village here with a couple of shops and restaurants you can bop around to. I really wanted to visit this gift store called Hakoniwa Kurima, but unfortunately it was closed on this day. We did grab some mango treats at Rakuen no Kajitsu. Their fruit and ice cream looked really good too. From there, we walked to this observation deck nearby to soak in these beautiful views one last time. After that, we dropped off our car to the rental agency and took the shuttle back to the airport. The airport is pretty small, obviously, but it's actually really nice. They packed a lot of stuff in there. There's a good amount of little shops upstairs, and we were able to get some last-minute souvenirs, and there is a soba restaurant up there, so we were able to have Miyako soba one last time. We thought that 4 days would be enough time in Miyakojima, but actually we all agree that we think that 7 days is a good amount of time. When we were talking about if we preferred Ishigaki or Miyakojima, since they're so close together, we all think that Ishigaki's mountains and the landscape is really pretty, but the water in Miyakojima is next level blue. It is beautiful. They both have their different charms, okay? But the water there was really nice. As promised, here is a big list of Google pins that I had saved for my research that I want to share with you. So get ready to screen grab in 3, 2, 1. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, please leave any recommendations that you have in the comments. I will see you in the next video, and until then, happy planning. Bye.